Let's be real. When you think of former US presidents, you probably imagine them giving dignified speeches, sitting in leather chairs, or posing for yet another book cover, right? Well, think again. These distinguished gentlemen, and perhaps a lady someday soon, have a secret hobby: throwing parties that could rival Hollywood's wildest soirees. Take Donald Trump, for example. As of now, he's making headlines not just for leading the 2024 US presidential election results, but also for turning his Mar-a-Lago ballroom into a full-blown party zone. You see, when Trump's chances of returning to the White House surged, so did the energy at his late-night bash. And the guest list? Oh, just a casual mix of his daughter, Ivanka Trump, Elon Musk, Dana White, and Caitlyn Jenner. And of course, in true Trump fashion, journalists from multiple news organizations were barred from covering the Election Night Watch event in West Palm Beach, Florida. After all, what's a secret party without a little exclusivity? But Trump isn't the only one who knows how to let loose behind closed doors. From FDR's infamous cocktail hours during Prohibition to JFK's soirées filled with mystery guests to modern-day backyard barbecues that turn into after-hours bashes, these former presidents know how to keep things fun and scandalous. So buckle up, because we're peeling back the curtain on these over-the-top parties thrown by the men who once sat in the Oval Office. Let's begin. FDR's Prohibition-era cocktail hours. Let's start with Franklin D. Roosevelt, because nothing screams power move quite like sipping martinis during Prohibition. While the rest of America was sneaking moonshine in back alleys, FDR was hosting cocktail hours in the White House. His soirees became infamous for their bold disregard of the national ban on alcohol. Guests included everyone from Hollywood stars to political insiders, all clinking glasses and toasting to the man who, ironically, promised to enforce the law. And FDR wasn't a cheap host either. He had his own cocktail recipes, often experimenting with flavors. Rumor has it that his infamous martini recipe was so terrible that diplomats had to fake a smile while choking it down. But hey, free booze is free booze, especially when it's served in the White House. JFK's soirees of secrets and starlets. Now, let's talk about John F. Kennedy, a man whose parties weren't just legendary, they were also shrouded in mystery. JFK's gatherings often blurred the line between political diplomacy and Hollywood-level debauchery. Picture Marilyn Monroe singing "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" in that sultry voice while Frank Sinatra lounges in the corner. But it wasn't just the A-list guest list that made these events scandalous. JFK was known to invite certain special guests, a mix of socialites, journalists, and, allegedly, a few undercover spies, to his intimate gatherings. The Secret Service worked overtime keeping these late-night affairs under wraps, and rumors of what happened behind closed doors fueled tabloid speculation for decades. Bill Clinton's saxophone jams. Fast forward to the 90s, and Bill Clinton enters the scene with his southern charm and a saxophone in tow. Clinton's parties were anything but ordinary. Imagine an impromptu jazz jam session breaking out in the White House living room. And when he wasn't serenading guests with his musical talent, the former president was known for his love of barbecue-themed backyard parties, complete with live music and plenty of dancing. Barack Obama's chic and chill gatherings. Barack Obama, on the other hand, brought a modern, chill yet chic vibe to presidential parties. Known for his love of music, Obama frequently hosted private concerts featuring legends like Beyoncé, Stevie Wonder, and Paul McCartney. The guest list was a who's who of Hollywood, music, and politics, but these events weren't your typical stuffy state dinners. Obama's birthday bash in 2021, held at his Martha's Vineyard mansion, was a prime example. Though it was technically after his presidency, the party made headlines for its star-studded guest list and exclusive nature. Guests were reportedly told to leave their phones at the door, ensuring no photos or videos of the festivities leaked. What happened at the party? We can only guess, but given Obama's love for smooth tunes and good vibes, it was probably unforgettable. Richard Nixon's boozy bowling night. Say what you want about Richard Nixon, but the man knew how to unwind in his own peculiar way. Nixon wasn't exactly the party animal type, but he did enjoy hosting low-key gatherings in the White House's private bowling alley. These weren't your typical family-friendly games, though. Rumor has it that Nixon's bowling nights often included plenty of scotch and an intense competitive streak. And when he wasn't knocking down pins, Nixon reportedly had a taste for extravagant state dinners that ended in after-parties where cigars, brandy, and political gossip flowed freely. Ronald Reagan's Hollywood-style soirees. Ronald Reagan's presidency brought a touch of Hollywood glamour to the White House, and his parties reflected his Tinseltown roots. From black-tie galas to private screenings of blockbuster films, Reagan's events were the epitome of glitz and sophistication. One particularly memorable night involved a Star Wars-themed dinner, complete with actors in costume, a nod to Reagan's controversial Star Wars missile defense initiative. But don't let the polished image fool you. Reagan wasn't shy about letting his hair down. His intimate gatherings often included his favorite snack, jelly beans, of course. course, and light-hearted humor. And while Nancy Reagan kept things elegant, she was also known for her tight control over the guest list, ensuring only the creme de la creme made it through the doors. George W. Bush's Ranch Ragers. If there's one thing George W. Bush loves, it's a good old Texas-style shindig. After all, nothing says party like a barbecue on his Crawford Ranch, complete with country music, brisket, and beer. While Bush's events had a more laid-back vibe, they were just as exclusive as his predecessors' gatherings. The real scandal, Bush was reportedly a fan of post-party poker games that could stretch into the wee hours. Known for his folksy charm, he often used these informal settings to bond with world leaders, because apparently nothing builds diplomacy like a friendly game of cards and a cold one. Lyndon B. Johnson's poolside shenanigans. LBJ didn't just enjoy throwing parties, he used them as an opportunity to dominate the social scene and, let's be real, intimidate his guests. Johnson's infamous pool parties at his Texas ranch, aptly named the Texas White House, were a mix of Southern hospitality and political theatrics. Known for being larger than life, Johnson wasn't afraid to get a little wild. Stories of him showing off in the pool, often pulling pranks or even skinny dipping in front of unsuspecting guests, became the stuff of legend. And let's not forget his fondness for bourbon, which flowed as freely as his colorful language. These gatherings weren't just for fun. They were often opportunities for him to sway political allies or flex his influence, all while splashing around in his cowboy hat. Thomas Jefferson's wine-fueled feasts. If you think wild parties are a modern phenomenon, think again. Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. president, was throwing down before it was cool. The man was a wine connoisseur to the extreme, importing some of the finest vintages from France and stocking his personal cellar with thousands of bottles. Jefferson's dinners were legendary for their sheer extravagance. Think candlelit feasts at Monticello, with courses of fine French cuisine, live classical music, and conversations that ranged from philosophy to politics. But here's the scandalous twist. Jefferson's wine-fueled events often blurred the lines between high society and indulgence, with some guests reportedly leaving a little worse for wear. Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago extravaganzas. And then, of course, there's Donald Trump. While we've already touched on his recent election night bash, his Mar-a-Lago estate has been the site of countless over-the-top parties over the years. From New Year's Eve, galas featuring A-list performers to lavish dinners with gold-plated everything, Trump's events are a reflection of his signature style, big, bold, and impossible to ignore. But the real buzz surrounds the guest lists, which have included everyone from celebrities like Kanye West to controversial figures like Rudy Giuliani. And let's not forget the hush-hush after-parties that allegedly happen behind closed doors. Trump might not have the media on his side, but he sure knows how to throw a party that keeps people talking. Secret Service secret. Now, here's a question. How do these presidents manage to keep their wild parties under wraps? That's where the Secret Service comes in, whose job isn't just protecting the commander-in-chief, it's also ensuring the privacy of their after-hours antics. While the Secret Service rarely spills the tea, there are whispers about the logistical nightmares of managing security at these gatherings. From screening guests to monitoring potential leaks, their work behind the scenes is as crucial as the party planning itself. And there you have it. Proof that former U.S. presidents know how to party just as well as they know how to run the country. Well, most of them. Now, if you loved this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and smash that subscribe button to join us for more scandalous stories and behind-the-scenes secrets. Until next time, stay curious, stay scandalous. See you in the next video.